Starlo Gets Real is my YouTube channel devoted to all things fishing related. It features tests, reviews and product information along with great fishing tips and advice. Why not subscribe so that you don't miss a thing? G'day, I'm Steve Starling, and the kinds of fishing that I most enjoy doing are made so much more efficient by the use of a bow-mounted electric motor. In fact, these bow-mounted electric motors have revolutionised the way we go lure and fly fishing these days. But about a year ago, I made a big change. I shifted to a MotorGuide Xi with Pinpoint GPS. I want to show you a few features of this unit and explain to you why I made that change. Some of the features I like most about the MotorGuide Xi with Pinpoint GPS are its speed of operation. It responds very quickly to input from the control. It's also ultra quiet and smooth, and that's really important to me. A lot of the styles of fishing that I do depend on finesse and cunning, and this motor is great for that. The other thing I notice is that I get excellent battery life out of it. Now obviously, while I'm cruising along nice and quietly like this on the MotorGuide Electric, I can steer left and right using the direction arrows. I can increase my revs to go faster or decrease them to go slower. And the other really neat thing I can do is hit this heading lock button. Now that uses the GPS to lock me onto a compass course. As soon as I press it, the blue GPS LED starts to flash on the motor and I know it's operating. It'll follow that compass course. I can wander away and do whatever I like. The other thing I've got is cruise control, and it's just like the cruise control in your car. When I press it, it'll maintain a speed, and it doesn't matter if I suddenly run into a headwind, the revs will automatically increase. If I've got a current pushing me from behind, they'll decrease to maintain that speed. How useful is that when you're trolling a lure? But there's other things that this MotorGuide does as well that I like even better. Have a look at this. To me, the most vital attributes of this motor are the ability that it gives me to absolutely and precisely control my location on the water when I'm presenting flies and lures. Let me show you how. When I get to a spot where I want to stay for a while, I just hit the anchor button and the GPS cuts in using satellites and holds me in that position, and I have never seen an anchor function on an electric motor work as quickly and as accurately as this one does. Even in wind and tide, it'll just lock you into that spot. This is so useful for pinpoint fishing. Once I've made a few casts from that particular anchor spot, if I just want to make a slight adjustment to my position, I can use what's called jog. In other words, hit one of the direction arrows once and the boat will move 5 feet or just over 1.5 meters in that direction. I can move forward by hitting the plus button. I can move to the right by hitting the right hand direction button, and I can move back by hitting the minus button. Each of those movements is 5 feet or about 1.5 meters. This is incredibly useful because I can shuffle along a drop off or a weed bed edge, or I can work my way in towards a snag. I love this jog function. Now another really cool function is the ability to be able to save these anchor points. I can save up to 8 of them using the numerical keys here, and I can come back to them at any time. So I just press one of the buttons. I'll make this anchor point number 1, hold the button down until I hear that little chirp, and I know that this anchor point is stored. I can go away somewhere else now, fish for a while, press that button and the boat will navigate straight back to that anchor point. How cool is that? And I use it in a tricky way when I'm chasing fish around the snags. I'll show you that. Here's one of the ways that I use the storage of anchor points. I call it my escape strategy. I'm making myself an anchor point out here about 60 or 80 meters from that big snag in the background there. I'm going to make it anchor point number 2. Hold the button down, I've got it stored. Now I'm going to move in and fish that snag, and I'll show you what happens if I hook a big fish. So I've moved in nice and close to this snag now and I'm fishing it. And if I hooked a big brim or a mangrove jack or something like that, it's going to try and dive back into that snag. What I do the moment I hook it is hit that button 2 that I stored before, and the boat will just hightail it straight out of here towards that previous anchor point that I marked, dragging the fish with me. I've caught some thumpers doing this. As well as recording anchor points, you can also record tracks or routes by pressing the record button, following a track and then replaying it. And you can record a track up to 4 miles in length. That's about 6.5 kilometres. And you can save 8 of those different tracks. Come back and repeat them at any time. Imagine how useful that would be if you were into trolling for trout or barramundi or yellow belly or whatever else. So I hope you're starting to get a bit of an idea about why I love my MotorGuide Xi with Pinpoint GPS so much. It has changed the way I go fishing. If you've been thinking about making the move, now might be the time. If you enjoyed this clip and would like to see more like it, please take a moment to subscribe to my Starlo Gets Real channel on YouTube. Until next time, tight lines.